A touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I running back coach didn't take biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. It's Martin and Xavier. On this Tuesday edition, we have DC of DC Capstone Report joining us to talk about the Senior Bowl. Bama versus LSU, the big win. The question of the day, will Mark Sears benching affect the team? Bama versus Mississippi State. 3-point play. Ryan Day. His statements on the transfer portal as teams are now trying to poach his best players, the hypocrisy, etc., or hysteria, the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts, and more.
We got a full show lined up for you today. Want to get you in on the conversation. 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions Hotline. And, of course, we'll have DC Capstone Report on there to talk with you today. Lots of different ways to go there. Excuse me, we had Mom speaking up and clarifying, and did you have a problem with her adding her 2 cents or 5 cents or $1 million, whichever way you approach it? Did you have any problem with anything she said in the beginning that caused a firestorm, or her explanation? That's Lamika Sears speaking up on behalf of Mark. Is this a catalyst moment for this team that brings them closer, splinters, or they just keep tracking along as we talked about? Jalen Hurts, record-breaking performance by him and his team. But also, man, what about those centers? I told you when first time many moons ago when Landon Dickerson came to Alabama, I said, this dude is old school nasty. Old school nasty. He started the game at center because Juergens was hurt and couldn't play. And then he played the entire first half with a bum knee. Of course, we know that he also played in a championship game with a torn ligament. So what's the surprise there with Landon Dickerson? None. But then Juergens comes in and plays a great second half. So we can look inside of that. And then, of course, big conversation, Jalen Milroe measuring 6'1", 220. But his hands are under 9 inches. There's not a starting quarterback in the NFL whose hands are under 9 inches. Will that hurt him? Will he fall in the draft as a result? Will they use that as a reason? But hey, I know a second round draft pick that's done pretty good. Same namesake. So being a second round draft pick, getting to sit and watch may not be all bad. We'll talk about all those conversations and more. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today.
All right. On this Tuesday edition, of course, we have DC Capstone Report. How you doing this morning, DC?
Oh, doing great this morning. How y'all doing, guys?
Doing well.
Can't complain. DC, we're gonna kick it off. Alabama got a big win versus LSU this past weekend, 80-73. But the talk of the town isn't about the win; it's about Mark Sears being benched for the second half of that game. He didn't score second time this season. He didn't score a single point. But as we talked yesterday, he did some other good things, so it's kind of surprising to see him not play at all in the second half. What are your thoughts about the Bama win and Mark Sears being benched for the second half?
Well, I think it's a great Bama win. Great time to get a victory against LSU. Got a big stretch here. We're going to go on the road against Mississippi State and back home against Georgia. 2 winnable games. Another the opportunity for Alabama to just keep getting better and keep getting itself in a position for the national championship. And I think as far as the Mark Sears thing, I don't think it had anything to do with his not scoring. I don't think it had anything to do with his other things that he was doing well. He did some good assists. He did some good things in the first half. But I think it had all to do with the exact repeat of a lackadaisical defense that he showed in the other games. And I think that Coach did it to send a message that he had other players that were playing better defense. And with Mark Sears on the bench, we played better defense in the second half. So,
did we really play better defense in the second half, DC, or did we just stop offensive rebounds?
I think when I say we played better,
close to the end. It was the same game till the end.
Yeah, I think when I say we played better defense, I think we played better team defense in the end. In the second half, and I think that also produced a lot more rebounds and I think we were in the game better with the message that was being sent by Coach Oates. So I think the message is if you're not going to play, you're going to sit the bench, and I think he did that on purpose. I think he'd already told him before. He told everybody on the team before.
So why was Grant Nelson still playing? Grant Nelson's guy had 9 rebounds. Grant Nelson and Big O's guy had 9 offensive rebounds in the first 15 minutes of the game and 13 total rebounds. I think he ended the first half with 15 rebounds.
Yeah, I think Coach Oates said that. I think Coach Oates said the reason why they were still playing. They responded well to what he told them at halftime, and Mark Sears did not. And
so it's not just about his effort, then.
No, it's about his attitude.
That's I mean that's the question that I have is, I saw a team that was getting out hustled, and maybe it was just Mark. I didn't see that, but I'm not there. So sometimes it looks like the quarterback made a bad throw or the running back made a bad cut, but the receiver or the lineman missed their block. And maybe Mark's contribution to the defense looking bad was, you know what I mean? Like he's the linchpin. And so it was just an interesting thing. But DC, I guess in X, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm because I keep hearing this. It's about effort. Why did he not? So it can't be just about effort, because you always give a guy a chance to see if he responds to your message.
I don't think he had the right attitude. I think at halftime, I don't think he was responding well. I don't think he was responding well to what he was being told, because I think it was the same message that he was being given before, think he was responding well to it. I think Clifford Morey and Grant Nelson responded in the second half to it. And I think the reason that you didn't see Mark, I think that's why his mother was upset that they didn't give a chance to respond to it. And I think the reason he didn't get the chance to respond to it was his body language and his attitude at halftime.
It's definitely more than just the pure effort that took place in the first half. So if it's the body language and the attitude, that makes more sense. But what are y'all's thoughts like when you see a mom or dad, a spouse, a partner get on the internet after those moments or during those moments and kind of go off on the coaching staff and everything? I saw somebody put it this way. He said, "I've never seen somebody, that parent or whoever, make comments after something like that and it end up being positive."
Yeah, I think that's very important. It can become a very sticking point with the team, especially when a parent says things like that. But I think she tried to repair it yesterday. She didn't downplay her attitude about her son, how much she loved her son, and how he was always going to be number one. But she did try to downplay the fact that, hey, let's rally around this and let's all come back together and win the national championship, that type of thing. But I think it remains to be seen what kind of effect it's going to have. What's going to have effect on Mark Sears personally, and how he be motivated the rest of the season, and how it's going to affect his teammates, who he's a leader. He's looked to as a veteran leader on this team. So I think we'll know a little bit about that, how he plays against Mississippi State.
What did she say, though, that was so bad before she had to clarify?
I don't think it was so bad. I just think it was the fact that she said something.
Yeah. And
yeah.
But when nobody's taken into account, she's not your typical mom fan. And you know what I mean by that? How many other moms in that building, when their son's on the bench, is probably getting asked by everybody in the building, what's going on? Why your son not playing? She probably was getting, I think sometimes when she says humiliating environment, I don't know that she was talking about Mark as much as she was her.
And I think the camera was on her as much as it was on Mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% possible. I just know we look back at during football season, the Vanderbilt game, you look at how when Malachi Moore lost his mind, and that was a lot more obvious. Even though he was still on the field, it was more obvious and things like that. And he didn't get benched. But I can remember seeing his mom, who's big on social media, didn't go down the blaming anybody. And she was like, "Hey, I shouldn't have responded that way. Coaches will handle it and move forward," versus a little bit more what Mark's mom did.
What did she? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Everybody keeps saying what she did. To me, she didn't say anything about the coaches, really. I guess I may have misread it. I didn't think she said anything as much as about he did. That was my whole thoughts while I was watching this. Wow, this kid is humiliated. And for him to have been benched that way, he had to have done something. With everything he's done, he had to have done something disrespectful. That was just my thought, DC, because you don't bench a star player or any player that's contributing off of a hustle play, and then you have a time at halftime to talk about it, and then you don't see if that player responds. You bench them, then you see if they respond. Unless, yeah, and I don't know. I really don't. But I think that's the problem with social media as well.
We were not in the room, so we don't know what was said. But we've been in rooms like that, Martin. So the way the response was of his, and the emotional features that he had in the second half, it seemed to think that he was contemplating something that he had said, and how it affected the rest of the teams and how it affected the coaches.
Yeah, I don't think he expected to be benched the whole time, because when he first came out, he was upbeat, he was engaged, and then it was like when he didn't come in after that second, that under 16 timeout, it got real. And by the under 12 timeout, he knew he wasn't playing. And then he and the coach was talking. So it was an interesting time. I guess the question I would want you to answer on the other side is which direction, how will it affect this team? Because they got a big game coming up on tomorrow against Mississippi State in Stark Vegas. And so we'll get your thoughts on that. We'll be back on the other side talking to DC Capstone Report. Hey, listen, we don't know. We're all making speculations. But my hope is that I appreciate – I want to say this about Nate Oates. I appreciate the stance that Nate Oates is taking. And he could have overreacted. He may not have overreacted. It may be perfect. It may catalyst his team. But it's a chance when you do something like that publicly, how it either draws your team together or splinters it. Get your thoughts on which one would be on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good Tuesday morning to you. We've got ourselves a situation already starting out this morning, traveling on 2059 in the eastbound lanes. And this is before you get to Joe Malisham Parkway or west of Joe Malisham Parkway. You do have an accident here. It's got a lane down. Already a little bit of a delay just in the immediate area. Nothing extensive at this point. Looking good on Lurleen Wallace, both north and southbound between 5th and McFarland. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song. Get your max tax refund guaranteed, and new customers get $100 to switch. Don't miss the boat. Book an appointment with experts today. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Join the Tide 100.9 men's basketball pregame show for every Alabama basketball home game. Live at Grandstand in Temerson Square downtown. Your hosts Wyatt Fulton and Hunter Johnson will break down the Bama men's basketball game and other big games from the SEC and around the country. Stop by, meet Wyatt and Hunter, and order something to eat from the kitchen and your favorite drink from the bar before the Bama game. They also have lots of TVs to watch the Bama game at Grandstand in Temerson Square downtown.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value. and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A sunny sky today. The high for this afternoon around 57. Clear tonight, below 38. Tomorrow, sunny and warmer, the high 63. Thursday, increasingly cloudy. Rain will likely move in here Thursday night, the high Thursday, 66. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 34 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We got DC Capstone Report on with us this morning. Hey, don't forget to check out Box Eye Care, boxeyecare.com. Dr. Daniel Box and his team are waiting to serve you. You heard that great promotion in the previous section, but don't forget, any of your eye care needs, they can help you with their new in-house lab, great inventory, laser surgery, and a whole lot more. I want to clear up and make sure everybody understands. I have no problem with what she did because she is a different fan. She's kind of the mom that probably got asked 25,000 times because I asked myself, what's going on with Mark Sears? What's going on? And if she was right there beside me, I probably would have said, hey, you know what's going on? Is he hurt? Is he injured? What's going on? But I wouldn't have done it in today's culture. I would not have put it out there because it puts him in a bad spot. It makes a humiliating point for him even more humiliating. It makes it harder, and I'm glad she came back and clarified that she was just being Mama Bear. And that's what Mama Bears do. Good, bad, or ugly, Mama Bears take care of their babies if they feel like they have been threatened. But I love the fact that she said, hey, this happens at this level. He needs to grow from it, learn from it, and he will. And what you saw in his emotion was his passion and his desire to make Alabama great. So I think that is much of a spark as her initial response was. Her second response, I think, along with how they appear to have raised their son, DCX, does this catalyze Alabama? And almost, if I can say, sort of like Ohio State had with their loss. It was just embarrassing and everybody was talking about it, but they had a little break and all of a sudden them jokers came back ready to go. I don't think they win the national championship without that loss to Michigan. You guys thought?
Yeah, I think it can be a catalyzing moment, be a catalyst to kind of move them down the road into a better headspace. And I think also it's because the way the other players react to this will be interesting to see. And I think the reason I say that is this team is kind of a veteran-laden team, and you've got Cliff Amore, you got Grant Nelson, you got Youngblood and Millette, who all have played on other teams, who've been around all other type of coaches and different things. And they all can provide good leadership, but you have a really good leader in Mark Sears that has been that go-to guy for leadership for the young guys. And I think this is an opportunity for those other guys to step up and fill that void there, and give a little grace to Mark Sears for him to come back and play well. So I think it's going to help this team. It's going to help them grow. It's going to help the young players play. It obviously gave Aiden Holloway some confidence in the way he played in this game. So I think it's going to help him as well down the road.
Yeah, I agree. It can be a galvanizing moment. And hopefully Mark and this team takes full advantage of that and use it to continue to propel themselves forward. They've proven twice they can win games where he's off in this way. So the confidence level that it builds for the other guys, I think, is huge. But we all understand and know that Mark is what pushes this team forward. And so hopefully that picks up tomorrow with Mississippi State. And speaking of that, DC, this team's traveling to old Start Vegas to take on the Bulldogs. What does Alabama have to do to win this game tomorrow night and continue rolling?
Well, number one is they can't overlook this team. This is a good team. It's a tough place to play. They're going to have a raucous crowd there. They're going to do anything they can to knock off the number 4 team in the nation. And they've got to go in there and they got to play their best basketball. And when Alabama plays their best basketball is they play hard defense, they rebound, they don't turn the ball over, and they hit a high percentage of their free throws. So if Alabama does those things in this game, then I think they win the ball game on the road. But defense, rebounding, and lack of turnovers is gonna tell who wins this ball game.
Yeah, and I would add one other thing, and I agree with those things that, and I know we normally do a 3-point play, DC, but I'm gonna do a 4-point play. You got fouled on your 3-point shot, DC. I think the start of the game, they have to win those first 4 minutes, regardless if Mark starts, if Mark doesn't, because I'm not sure that Mark starts. I mean, I'm not sure that I don't know. We really don't know. But 2 things. I think this team has to respond to the atmosphere, the energy, and the environment, regardless of who's on the court. They cannot fall behind, because if they fall behind, questions creep in, DC.
I agree. Fast starts is pivotal. I believe that you're exactly correct. That's in this game going to be very critical on the road against sold out stadium and against a team that really thinks they can win. This Mississippi State team believes they can win the game. They won some tough games. They've had some big games that they've won. So, and I think it's a poise. Last night Iowa State loses. That's one of the teams ahead of Alabama in the polls, and Alabama goes on. It's got a big thing to hit Alabama. They go ahead and knock off Mississippi State and then take care of business at home against Georgia. 2 more victories. It positions them very well going forward. So I think this is a pivotal game. It's not a game you need to lose on the road. You need to win these road games, especially these quad 1 games. And I think every game Alabama plays after Georgia game is going to be a quad 1 game.
Yeah, it's scary to think that Alabama has 4 winnable games, not that they'll win them all. Mississippi State is probably, the Texas team is getting better. I think they're adjusting, but they could easily be, on a 6-game win streak or 7-game win streak when they play whatever it'll be when they get ready to face Auburn. You could be looking at the number 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 team in the country if Alabama continues to win and Auburn continues to win.
I agree.
So, what makes you think Mark might not start the game?
Huh?
What makes you think Mark might not start the game?
If he could respond, whatever caused the benching, if it was just effort and hustle, has that been addressed? We don't know. Okay, so whatever caused that benching, he didn't get to rectify the on the court piece of it, right? Mm-hmm. And if he was benched because of the reaction he made, how did he react? And as DC pointed out, we've been in those rooms where you see somebody throwing dirt on their own grave and they can't get out of their own way. Now, that's not Mark's personality in the past, but has Mark did Mark, to me, Ryan asked me on his show yesterday. I said, I believe that that Mark had to go to his coaches and go to his team and apologize on his own. That's what I think. And if he did not, because if he didn't handle the halftime well, he couldn't handle practice well. Virgil Williams saying he read somewhere where he's responded very well in practice. I don't know what all that means, but that's why I say that. Is he still has he? Is it making sense what I'm saying?
Accountability.
Yeah, most definitely making sense because, first of all, I don't think Coach Oates keeps him on the bench the whole entire second half. I think that was to send the message to him, and I think he got that message if you watched him after the first time out. And into the second time out, he realized he wasn't going to play, and it begins to weigh heavy on him. And I believe it was because of something that he said, a disrespecting thing, something that it was done that was out of his character. And I think that could bleed over to the next game if you don't respond well. So, in my opinion, the only reason he wouldn't start is if he didn't respond well with his attitude and his, and like I said, acknowledging his mistakes of what he said as far as an apology or whatever. But if he didn't respond well, then I could see him not starting the game.
So, with what has come out with the not getting in the second half, do you think it was hey, we're going to start Aiden in the second half, and Mark, we're going to come to you, and he responded negatively to that, potentially? Something along those lines, which led to Coach Oates being like, all right, hey, you're over there, and we're going to win without you type deal.
I don't think it's as much as that. I think he's responded well to things like that. He's even in the past told Coach Oates to put someone else in. They have a hot hand. Leave them in. Let me sit on the bench. I don't think it was that. I can only say all what I'm going to say is speculation, but maybe some educated speculation. I think it was a response to how he was getting on him about his defense in the first half, trying to send a message to everyone else in the room. And I don't think he responded well to that. And I think some things were said back to him.
Let me give you an example.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and we probably need to get a break, but here's the thing. I work for a lady who gave me a book by Rick Pitino, and it was about showing up early. And it was about if you show up, basketball players don't show up at kickoff. The opera lady doesn't show up at, opening curtain. Everybody has a warm-up time. So she expected us to show up at work and be ready to hit the ground running at 8:00 if that was our start time, right? Not get there at 8 and then go get coffee and go to the bathroom and talk. If you want to do all that, you get there at 8:00. You were working, and she gave me the book. Well, the book said if you're inside of 15 minutes, you're late. Okay, we're in a meeting with my entire team. It's probably 20 of us in there. And she's talking, and I was there before probably half the team. But I got there at 7:55, something like that. Only 5 minutes before 8:00. Still early enough. She goes around the room and she's talking, and she said, if you want to be the best, you need to not show up late like Martin did. I mean, I was 20-something years old, and I'm like, what? I was here, and to myself, I said, I was 5 minutes early, and I beat some of these people here. But I don't react. I just sit there. And I go to her afterwards, and I said, why did you call me out like that? She said, because you're better than that. I expect more of you than I do everybody else. I'm going to hold you to a higher level because I see something in you. So your response can't be what everybody else's response is because I see you leading this group one day. So maybe Mark didn't do anything that other players hadn't done. He and Coach Oates just, you see what I'm saying? So it may not even be that he had this. It could have been like he threw up his hands. Just simply what? Because Mark Sears may have thought he didn't play that bad. He may have thought that he was doing okay. He didn't. You see what I'm saying? So DC, that's my thought. I mean,
and I see Coach Oates is a great leader, And great leaders do things just like your leader just did, you described with you. We've seen Coach Saban do it time after time after time. He would chew out the player that he knew could take it, that he thought he could take it based on his leadership skills and based on what he was doing, so he sent a message to the rest of the team. And there were some players he wouldn't do that to that had messed up worse, but he had to get to them through another player because he knew that person couldn't take it, that person would break down. Sometimes when you do that in an emotional state, sometimes that player that you feel like can take it can't take it. And then Coach Saban has told many stories of players that ended up in his office later, asking him the same question Martin just asked his supervisor later, and he said, "Hey, because you're better than that, I thought you could take it." And that's the stories that he told. That's the marks of a good leader on how to lead your people.
AJ getting slapped on the butt. That's the classic when he slapped AJ on the butt as a young. Right.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. We're going to go ahead and get the break. Come back on the other side. We'll talk a little football. Jalen Milroe was measured at the Senior Bowl. Does that raise some concerns, or can he overcome a negative? We'll talk about it on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good Tuesday morning to you. We've got ourselves a situation already starting out this morning, traveling on 2059 in the eastbound lanes. And this is before you get to Joe Malisham Parkway or west of Joe Malisham Parkway. You do have an accident here. It's got a lane down. Already a little bit of a delay just in the immediate area. Nothing extensive at this point. Looking good on Lurleen Wallace, both north and southbound between 5th and McFarland. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
I'm John Fail. 4 years ago, I promised to work hard for District 6 and Tuscaloosa. I've done that. I have been as accessible as anyone, answering your phone calls, going to homes when needed, and meeting with you on Saturday mornings. I have supported public safety, schools, parks, and seen new restaurants come to our district. I need your support March 4th to continue what we've started. I'm John Fail, and I approve this message.
Dixie Battery Supply takes care of all of your battery needs. Find the commercial batteries you're after and never feel powerless again. Come check out our Northport and Tuscaloosa locations or call us at 205-758-9190. And once again, power up all your devices by using Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com. They offer reconditioned batteries starting at $39.99, and you'll find all the batteries you need. And don't forget to ask us about our golf carts. That's DixieBatterySupply.com.
Hey, Bama fans, this is quarterback Jalen Milroe for my friends at Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Before you shop anywhere else for a Dodge Ram truck, a Jeep, a Dodge Challenger, or a Dodge Charger, shop local. An amazing selection of new and pre-owned vehicles are on the lot now. Go see for yourself at 550 Skyland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa, or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. They've been doing it the right way each and every day for 50 years and counting. If you're looking for a great option for lunch and or dinner, then you need to check out Taco Casa. Taco Casa, and while you're there, don't forget to get a big glass of that sweet tea. Visit them online at tacocasa.com. That's tacocasa.com. Quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
Hello, America. This is LeVar Arrington. As a gun owner, I understand the importance of being prepared. But it's crucial to recognize that according to law enforcement statistics, 99% of all altercations do not require lethal force. Introducing Byrna, the leader in less lethal self-defense. And you know I'm all about defense. Byrna provides formidable stopping power without the complexities and potential legal consequences of a homicide. It's about having the right tools for the right situation, ensuring you can protect yourself and your family effectively and responsibly. I personally own several Byrna launchers. Byrna launchers are legal in all 50 states with no background checks, no permits, and no waiting period. You can have one shipped straight to your door, providing peace of mind when you need it most. Every burner launcher is hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana by a proud American company. Visit Byrna.com/LeVar and get 10% discount off your purchase. That's Byrna, BYRNA.com/LeVar. Byrna, where safety meets responsibility and preparation meets peace of mind.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. It's Tuesday, so we have DC of DC Capstone Report with us today. DC switching over to the football side. Got the Senior Bowl this weekend. There's a couple Bama guys down there trying to make a name for themselves. It is official that Malachi Moore has decided to sit out the Senior Bowl as he's still rehabbing his ankle injury that he had surgery for after the regular season. But had a couple guys that got measured down there. Tim Smith. Measured in 6'4", 311, good size on the defensive line. And then we have the quarterback, the enigma, Jalen Milroe, measured in 6'1 and a quarter, 220. His arms are over 31 inches, and he has almost a 75-inch wingspan. But his hands, it is 8 6/8 inches, or to simplify it, 8 3/4 inches. That would be a quarter-inch smaller than the smallest hands of a starting quarterback in the NFL. And, of course, those hands belong to one Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. When we're looking at that, guys, what are your thoughts? Does that hurt him? Is it maybe not that big of a deal? What are your thoughts when it comes to how that's the only measurement that he comes up short in?
Well, here's my thoughts. Number one, kudos to his agent, Nicole Lynn. She has done a great thing for Jalen Milroe. Make sure so many agents want to hide and bury whatever the problem is, so they don't have them measure at the Senior Bowl, and it springs it on everybody at the NFL Combine. This is great. It's great for it to all come out now, and let everybody who cares about it talk about that quarter-inch short of a hand and all the things that go along with that. All this is, in my opinion, is he measured out every grade and every other thing. All it is gives whoever already has a knock against Jalen Milroe something to hang their hat on as a scout, so they don't pick him. So that if he ever blossoms into an NFL MVP that leads his team to a Super Bowl, they don't lose their job over or not going in on Jalen Milroe. So I don't think it really helps or hurts him in the eyes of those that really like him. There's some scouts that are sold on him, his athletic ability, his arm strength. The question is going to be: are they sold enough to make him a first-round pick, or will he fall to the second round? And there's some players who fell to the second round who are leading their teams to the Super Bowl. So there's no knock on that as well. So I don't think it's really going to be a bad thing for him. I think it's good that it's out now, and it's going to be a bad thing in the eyes of those who already had something against him, I think.
That?
Yeah, I guess the question is, how does he overcome it? And yeah, he has small hands. That's why the Senior Bowl is important, ex-DC, listen, is because they get to see you up close and personal, right? And, and I know I'm using a personal testimony, but that's the best way I can describe what's going on. The guys that seen me play, the Senior Bowl had seen me play, the coaches had seen me play, but when they saw me in person, some of them were like, dog, man, I thought you were so much taller and bigger than you are. And so for some of them, they were like, okay, And then they would see me physically play, and they're like, "Oh my God, dude, you're physical," you know. So when you see Jalen Milroe in person, can he do all the other things up close and in person that you overlook the hand thing? In other words, in practices, if he's hitting all the deep throws and he's making all that, and you go back, but they may say, hey, this is why he had the fumble issues, right? You know, that's why sometimes he would lose the ball. So those who have concerns but love him would be like, can we teach him to keep two hands on the ball at all times? Because undoubtedly he can still throw a deep ball accurate, you know, and these coaches think that they can teach him everything else. But what they can't teach is Lamar Jackson type speed, being strong, fast, athletic. So they'll look at the things that they can correct that are impacted by his hand size, and then they'll make a decision, X. But, you know, I pointed out Jet Cohen talking about seeing him as high as number 4, X. The question with Jalen, he's the perfect representation of this 24 team. They have high highs and low lows. Jalen Milroe could go as high in some draft picks as top 5, or he could fall as low as 3rd or 4th round. And that's kind of the way this team played and he played this year. But what I do think is going to happen is Jalen Milroe will come out of all of the combines, all of the measurements, like DC said, as the 3rd or 4th ranked quarterback. The question becomes, where will that team take the 3rd or 4th quarterback? It's not always whether you're a 1st rounder or a 2nd rounder. It's how your position is rolling, you know. I
think the first 2 were gone after the first 3 picks.
Right. And then it becomes, when is the 3rd and 4th quarterback taken? I think Jalen will be the 3rd or 4th quarterback. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
No, I mean, if you look at go ahead, DC.
I'll say I agree with Martin on that. I think he's going to be the 3rd or 4th quarterback. Where he's taking him remains to be seen. But again, I think there's some things. Martin just made a very big statement there that goes overlooked sometimes. There's some things that you can teach, but there's some things you can't teach. And he has the intangibles that you can't teach: athleticism, strength, arm strength, and speed. You can't get his speed in a quarterback other than Lamar Jackson and a few others in the NFL. So if a scout and a team believes they can teach the other things to him than a skill set, then I think it goes well for him in the draft.
Yeah, you know, they say it only takes one team to fall in love with you, and that's all it takes. And you can end up anywhere. I think he'll.
Go ahead.
I think he'll show all the intangibles and the things that he has on the field this week, and there will be some coach that goes, "Oh, I can teach him how to touch it. I can teach him how to position it when he's in the pocket so that ball doesn't get knocked out by a backside rusher." So,
who was the quarterback at Philadelphia when Jalen was drafted?
Carson Wentz.
And he was a 1st round draft pick?
Number 2.
And then you remember how everybody dogged the Eagles for drafting Jalen? Because they had Carson Wentz.
Yep.
To your point, the point I'm making, X, it only takes one team to draft you. It only takes one coach to look and say, I can use, I've been looking for that in that position because I can teach the other stuff. Jalen Hurts may never throw for 350 yards, but he is going to average what every other quarterback averages in the passing game and the run game combined, and he's going to get you more TDs. He's going to keep more drives alive because of his legs than the typical. Jalen Hurts' skill set has changed the NFL. Before Jalen Hurts push, NFL, I guarantee you in the last 3 years, the 4th down attempts have gone through the roof. And now other coaches are doing it with guys like Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels, and I mean, what's name went for it the other night in the AFC Championship game was on 30. Andy Reid, they weren't doing that 4 years ago. And I think Jalen Hurts had a lot to do with that. And I think Jalen Milroe is that type of athlete that he could cause somebody to fall in love with him.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to go ahead and get the break, come back on the other side with the finishing touches on this Tuesday edition of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Tuesday morning trouble right now. By the way, good morning to you. But it is on 2059 as you make your way, by the way, in Foster's 2059 on that northeast lane. And this is just west of Joe Malisham Parkway. Now it's got traffic pretty slow in the immediate area. And otherwise, traffic is moving as it typically is on Skyland Boulevard. You're a little sluggish between McFarland and Greensboro. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Eat Lux your way with the new $5 Classic, $7 Supreme, and $9 Discovery Lux Craving Boxes from Taco Bell at participating stores for a limited time only. While supplies last, price of participation varies. Drinks exclude freezes, tax extra.
I'm John Fail. 4 years ago, I promised to work hard for District 6 and Tuscaloosa. I've done that. I have been as accessible as anyone, answering your phone calls, going to homes when needed, and meeting with you on Saturday mornings. I have supported public safety, schools, parks, and seen new restaurants come to our district. I need your support March 4th to continue what we've started. I'm John Fail, and I approve this message.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460, 553-9460, or visit them online at HoustonHydrosteam.com. And once again, Houston Hydrosteam is quality work you can stand on.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Good morning. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're here for the Harvest Church 2-minute warning. Love God, love people. Sunday school starts at 9 a.m. Service starts at 10. Come join us if you're available. Look for the blue sign with the 3 people, and you'll be at your location. DC, we've talked about Bama basketball. We've talked about Jalen Milroe and Bama football. But we've got a former Alabama quarterback in Jalen Hurts leading his team back to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. He broke Steve Young's rushing touchdown postseason record, was a part of a postseason game tie, 7 rushing touchdowns in a big win over Washington. Can Jalen Hurts become the first former Alabama quarterback to win a Super Bowl since Kenny Saban?
I think he can. I think it's going to be a tough road. You know, Kansas City is the team to beat. They're the ones that's been the dynasty, if you will. But I think every team at some point has a team that can beat them, and I think Philadelphia is that team. I believe that the way they're built, to run the ball with Saquon Barkley has really made a difference in that running game. It's even helped Jalen Milroe in his rushing as well. So I think they have a great, if they can get healthy on the offensive line and they can run the ball the way they did in this last game, then I definitely see them winning the game against Kansas City.
Did you guys realize that Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback who lost his first Super Bowl appearance to make it back in the last 19 times? In other words, the previous 19 quarterbacks that made it to the Super Bowl and lost their first time never made it back to a second, going all the way back to 1994, I think.
Back to Jim Kelly, isn't it?
No, I can't remember who it was. It was 94. I think it may have been somebody with the
Jim Kelly might have been the last one to make it back. I think is what DC's saying.
Who?
I think Jim Kelly was the last one to make it back.
Yeah. And he made it to 4 in a row.
4 in a row, that's right.
Hopefully Jalen don't start that streak.
No, we don't need that streak started. We need him to turn it around.
No, we do not.
Oh, man. Hey, DC, what are your thoughts really quick on the transfer portal, Ryan Day, his hypocrisy? And now also I saw where Trey Amos made the statement that going to Mississippi, Ole Miss, was about positioning him better to make it. And I'm like, wow, that's a slap in Alabama's face that he thought playing it instead of, because he was going to be the starter here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's about money. Money. I think Ryan Day saying what he said is why people get called hypocrites. I think that sometimes you're not in a position to make a statement like that, and he's not the one that needs to make that statement. Let some other coaches do it. I just think it would have been better off if you had not said anything. It dilutes the fact when you're the one that's actually taking advantage of it. It makes you out a hypocrite. And I think that he should have. I think if I'd have been him and I wanted to say that, I'd call somebody else and ask them to make that statement, not him.
Tell them where they can find you, DC.
DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter at DavidCop50 and always on YouTube, and we're available on Spotify. Thank y'all for listening. We appreciate you. Really appreciate you having me on each and every Tuesday, Martin, Xavier. Thank you.
All right, that's DC at DC Capstone Report. Hey, I'm Xavier Houston. As Martin Houston, we'll be back tomorrow with more of the same and continue to talk Alabama sports. Have a good one.
Roll Tide. Thanks, DC. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths.